Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a guy who finds his wife's affair with her boss at her new job via the texts. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. I've, 40 male, been with my wife, 41 female, for 20 years. Married for 18. We raised 3 kids. Our youngest is 19. Our sex life had fizzled, and I figured it's just what happens when 2 people are together for 20 years. It gets vanilla. Same routine, nothing's really new, etc. Eventually, we stopped having sex entirely for about 1.5 years. In January 2016, she started a new job which required her to work Saturdays, and because she was a manager, she often had to stay until the last customer left to close the store. I trusted her completely and didn't think much of the sometimes very late or irregular hours. I work from home, so I know exactly when she gets here. Also, she did get a lot of late-night text messages, but with kids in the 19 to 22-year-old range. I didn't second-guess anything. In July, she received one of those late-night texts, but she was sleeping. I checked her phone to see if it was one of the kids, and for some reason her phone wasn't locked. I saw a string of texts between her and her boss which clearly indicated an affair. Not a booty call, but a full-on affair. Things like, I love you more, I wish I was laying next to you right now. My wife saying this at like 10:30 p.m. when she was laying next to me. The text messages went back at least 6 months. I was absolutely floored. I confronted her and she denied it. Then I presented her with the evidence, which I had forwarded to my phone, and she confessed. Over the next couple of days, we talked about it, and while I couldn't anticipate whether I would be able to get past it, we would try. We would use this as a lesson and an opportunity to turn inwards and work on our relationship. I did demand she quit her job, which after stringing me along for a few weeks and me writing up several resignation letters for her, she never actually quit. Nevertheless, little by little, things seemed to go back to normal. Still, our intimacy never improved. I might add that both of us are, by conventional standards, quite attractive. Both look like we're in our early 30s and are physically fit. We should be attractive to one another, or at least not repulsed. Fast forward another year. It's the day after my birthday and the night before we had a little party. The kids came by, we had cake, there were presents. It was great. Well, I guess one of my kids had locked her keys in the car. So the next day she Ubered and asked me to take care of it and then pick her up from work. So I had the car unlocked, and when I got in the car, I saw some random things on the passenger seat. One of which included a receipt from Boston Market. It looked like a couple of people had dinner. I scrolled up and the date on the receipt was my birthday. The time was 6 p.m. I scrolled to the bottom and saw his name and credit card info. The next day, I confronted her. Like before, at first she denied everything and said I was crazy. This time I went into cop mode. I claimed to have more information than I actually had in order to elicit a confession. I claimed to have evidence that she was continuing her affair and had been meeting him going back to 2016. She fell for it and confessed. The next day, I had to travel for work for a week, and I told her we could talk about next steps when I returned. Meanwhile, this guy's wife was stalking my LinkedIn page. Apparently, she knew more than I did, and had sent me a connection request at some point in 2016. I sent her a LinkedIn message and we talked on the phone for 2 hours. She told me that she knew all about it. She had access to the text messages. Her mother, who lives up the street from her, saw my wife walking out of their house holding hands with him and getting into a car. My wife has some pretty distinct lipstick and she mentioned that she found Kleenex with the lipstick in her bedroom, that she continues to see the lipstick on his clothes, that nothing ever stopped. When I told my wife about that convo, she went off about his wife and said she was getting a restraining order, blah blah blah. At this point, I don't think there's anything that can save the relationship. The entire year from July 2016 to June 2017, I thought we were rebuilding. She was out fucking her boyfriend. I have a bulletproof prenup. My parents made me do it because I had money in trust from an inheritance. I thought it was stupid then, but I'm really glad now. Everything is in my name. The house, the car, etc. I don't understand why she would put everything at risk. I might add that I have made well over 6 figures for the past 8 years, live in a 5-bedroom house with a pool. I gave her and the kids a good, secure lifestyle. She says that he doesn't mean anything to her, but that's not what I read in those texts or heard from his wife. I told her that I want her out by November 1st. I'm giving her $5,000 cash, signing the car over to her, and she can take anything she wants in the house. Also, she can sell the $7,500 ring as it means nothing. Now she says she doesn't want to split up. Yesterday, she asked me if I wanted to go to church. We haven't been in like 10 years. I just don't look at her the same anymore. Unless she can prove where she was and when, I consider it a lie. Life at home has been surreal, and I just put myself on autopilot. I just look at her as a really close roommate or best friend. Except a best friend wouldn't ass-fuck me for 2 years. I don't argue and just try to act normal and civil. I plan on selling the house and moving to a more rural location where I can have some acres and just start over. It's really scary though. She's the only person I've been with since I was 19. I don't know how to go on an adult date. I feel like no one would want me. I know that I need a fresh start, but I'm afraid to be alone and be alone forever. I feel like I've lost my dignity and that now I'm some kind of cuckold bitch. That's not who I am at all, but it's what I feel like. On some level, I know that I either 1. Need to be okay with her having a boyfriend, not gonna happen, 2. Have an open marriage, not going to happen, or 3. End it and separate. I don't know. I guess I'm looking for feedback. Am I doing the right thing? Is my fear justified? Help. Update. So, my wife of 20 years cheated on me with her boss for over 2 years. I found out after the first year. She begged forgiveness and asked that we turn inward and try to fix our relationship. While I thought we were fixing it, she continued her affair for another year until I found evidence that they had an apartment together. At that point, I was done. Probably the low point of my entire life. We've since had many discussions and I just can't get past it. We're currently legally separated, but she still lives in the house, which I had bought with money from a trust that is covered under a prenup. In order to not drive myself crazy with negativity, I've been cordial with her, even watching TV together and sometimes having dinner with our son as a family. I recently bought a new truck. It's badass, all black, very sexy. I re-emerged on social media over the weekend. I feel like I'm getting my swag back. I joined Bumble this weekend and had a bunch of matches and communications from really cute girls. Women, I'm 41. It felt so good to know that someone found me attractive and interesting. The thing is, now they want to meet up, like a date, and I just have this gnawing guilty feeling like I'm betraying my family and that I have to sneak around to do it. I haven't been on a date since I was a teenager, so maybe it's just my nerves. Has anyone else experienced this? Any tips? OP gave her a chance and she screwed it up. Now she realizes she's effed up bad, she's objecting to splitting up. OP should have a frank discussion with his kids. They need to know what happened and they're old enough. OP might feel starting all over again at 40 sucks, but it's better than restarting at 50. OP has many good years ahead. Now for some comments. Actually, I can relate a lot. My wife and I are separated and will be filing soon. I joined a dating app and went on a couple dates and couldn't anymore and deleted the app. The same kind of gnawing guilt. I realized I'm just not ready yet. I talked to a couple friends and they said the exact same thing. We just need time. Eventually, I'll be ready, as will you. I felt guilty at first, mainly because even though I had left my cheating wife, moved out, and filed for divorce, I was still legally married. Divorces take a long time, and I just wasn't going to wait. My ex-wife destroyed my life, so screw it. The guilt faded. I met an amazing woman and married her 2 weeks ago. Just go for it.